This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and live and available on DAZN. Mr. Frank Smith, didn't catch up with you last week. I was missing you, sir. How are you?
You didn't catch up because you're too big time now. And you
Oh,
don't come to shows, like you just travel. You probably had some promo day with some big celebrity and couldn't make the time to make the trip. It was too far away. So I get it. I get it.
it's
You've
nice.
changed.
It's nice to have a few. That's not the reason, just for the viewers, but it is actually nice. Like when you have your bed for more than one day, which is a rarity in this game. I was like, okay, this is nice.
Mate, honestly.
You must get burnout.
Burnout.
Yeah.
Granted, I didn't do a marathon, which I still owe you money for, to be honest. I haven't forgot about that. I did forget, but
You
now I
buy
haven't.
me breakfast.
Granted,
So.
I didn't do a marathon, yes, but burnout. You're like 14, aren't you?
My legs are just absolutely cabbaged. Still.
The marathon was like
Exactly. It
two
was
weeks
a week
ago.
ago. And I'm still
Yeah.
like,
So that's why you haven't been to any.
no, that wasn't actually. We had a heavy week, well, heavy content week like straight after the marathon. And it got to Friday and I was like, right, this weekend we're home.
But that's not how it works. You just launched this new thing, this new
Yeah,
platform.
but we've got a lot of
It,
admin. We're doing job interviews.
you're doing job
Yeah.
interviews, mate. Worrying.
It's a bit mad, isn't it? Any
I
advice
mean, yeah,
on the old job interview front?
yeah. Don't ask too many serious questions. Just get to know the person.
Okay. Is that really?
It's my view. I think if someone's going to fit within a group, it doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter what they've written on a piece of paper. You got to understand and get to know them and see if they're going to fit and work.
There we are for the viewers and for myself. Everyone's just got a bit of recruitment advice from the CEO of Matchroom Boxing. You could charge for that.
Just my opinion. It may not, but a lot of people say I'm wrong, but that's my opinion.
You could still probably charge for that. I respect it. Right, let's go into it. 7 years ago, a baby-faced Frank in the middle of the ring after Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko. 7 years.
Mad, mad. We were just talking about it because we got it up in our office on the wall. That graphic from that show. It doesn't feel like yesterday. I was talking about the event a couple of weeks ago as well, just saying the atmosphere. I don't know if you went, but the atmosphere that night was sensational. Honestly, like something I've never seen. Just the fight, everything around it, and a massive event for us as well. We've done massive events, but that felt huge. I think it was the first time we'd done 90,000 at Wembley, and yeah, that really catapulted AJ to the next level that night.
7 years ago, how old were you?
24.
24. So what is the timeline on things? Like at 24, then you must have been quite senior to be in that photo after the so when did things start to get real for you, Frank? Talk me through the timeline of it.
You know what? I can't even remember. It all merged into one, Charles. I bear in mind with AJ though, I'd been there since we signed him. Like I took him for his medicals. And there was like a close relationship with AJ. I've been there all the way along. So that was in 2013. So that event was 2017. I think I was probably head of boxing or something. I don't think I was the CEO at that point. I can't actually remember. I might have been. That might have been just the start. It was either head of boxing or CEO, something like that. Not that the title matters, but really 24 years old. I think I was running the operations that event, and yeah, it was good, but it all merges into one. Honestly, you sort of forget these moments.
Do you think your involvement with AJ from early helped the progression of your career? Sorry, I've gone on a bit of a tangent here. I'm just curious.
I thought you were going to say, do you think my involvement helped AJ's career, and he wouldn't be where he is without me today? Uh, my career, yeah, 100%. But again, we've worked with so many fighters, like they've all been a part of the journey we've been on. Obviously, AJ's been a massive part of it, understandably. But for me personally, I think it's just more the relationship. The business has changed where we're now operating a business doing 40 events a year. We're flying around the world. Back then, 7 years ago, AJ was probably in our office at points a lot more. We were around a lot more. We were seeing each other more. And yeah, the relationship changes with fighters moving forward. You know, probably not as close as we were back then because we had less fighters. And you were with the, like I say, the guys that came through from like the 2012 Olympics, like you know, the likes of Luke Campbell, Cowie, all those guys, AJ, we were like I was really close with because I was young. I was 20. Well, when they signed, I was 20 years old, and then you take them through all of these moments from pro debut. So it does change slightly, but it just means the business is getting bigger. So you're not as on hands or hands on. Sorry. Don't get me wrong. I would love to. My most stressful job to be to take a fighter for a medical. I'd like to go back to that ideally.
You're happy to see the back of that one.
No, I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was nice. Well, it was no stress, Charles.
Mm.
Just had to make sure someone had to get to
Yeah, but
the medical.
when you think like in the grand scheme of things, where you are now and some of the stuff that you do now, I'm sure you can gracefully sort of accept that you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, but I've not changed as a person. I would do any job. I still make teas in the office, Charlie.
Do you?
Hence why,
Never done me a
yeah,
trick.
you'd never come in. You don't.
That's
You're always
such
look. You're
cap.
always
That
working
is
from
such
home.
cap. I'm
Look at working
partial.
from
I'm
the
partial to
work
little
culture.
HQ visit, sir.
The working from home culture you've got at your business is terrible. You don't even go to events anymore.
Oh no, this is
Not
scandalous.
even you're not even supporting the grassroots of the sport, like and the next.
Wow. Wow. That is
But anyway,
horrendous.
we move on.
We do move on. I suppose sticking with the topic of the heavyweights, let's go into Tyson Fury now. We are what a matter of weeks away, really, 3, 4 weeks. Big undercard, obviously involvements there with Opataya and Joe Cordina. I suppose firstly on the main event itself, what's your gut feeling now?
Look, it's a 50-50 fight. You got two of the best in the sport going in against each other. And I hope Tyson Fury wins because don't get me wrong, I really get on with Oleksandr Usyk and the team, and we've got a great relationship. But obviously, all British clash sometime down the line for the undisputed between Tyson Fury and AJ. That's what we'd love to see. I don't think at this level, though, I think if Fury was to take a loss, the AJ fight is still huge, regardless of that. Still the biggest fight out there, in my opinion. But I think it's a 50-50 fight. Look, you've got Oleksandr Usyk, who became undisputed cruiserweight champion, went on to become unified heavyweight champion, had what, 300 amateur odd fights, lost two or something. Is that right? Something like that. He's a special talent, but Tyson Fury, every time people write him off, you know, he proves them wrong.
They always say in boxing a good big and always beats a good little, and I suppose in this aspect, both guys have never been beaten, so it's hard to take one away from the other. But when I look at Oleksandr Usyk and I look at his rise and everything and how he went through the cruiserweight division, fairly unscathed, close fights at times, and then the heavyweight division, the second fight with AJ was close. Chisora, a lot of people say one of his toughest tests, but he's never really shown, I suppose, weakness here and there. But it's hard to doubt a man who, I suppose, similar to Tyson Fury, though, and that's what makes it so intriguing. They've never really had anything where you can convincingly sway otherwise. I suppose for Fury, the only thing that leans on that is the whole Ngannou stuff.
Yeah, but look, you know, I've always said when I watched that Ngannou fight, it wasn't the best of Tyson Fury, is the reality, you know. And also, you're not going to go in every night like any athlete and have your best performance.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That night didn't have his best performance, you know. And AJ, when he went in and knocked Francis Ngannou out in what, 2 rounds or 3 rounds, was it? You know, that was a spectacular performance, and he's back on top. But yeah, you can't. I don't think you can read too much into the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou performance when now looking at the Oleksandr Usyk fight. Fury knows he's going in against one of the best in the sport current day, and he knows he needs to perform. But the joys of an undisputed fight and you know putting two of the best together is that it is a 50-50. Just like Bivol Beterbiev, just you know these fights, they're the best out there. So that's why we're excited for it. And the undercard, as you say, we got Joe Cordina out, we got Jai Opataya, a stacked card coming from Riyadh on May 18th.
His Excellency Turkey Al Sheikh He's sort of said to me when we did an interview that the likelihood is that there's a show that's going to come to the UK, September time, I think. I believe around about the 21st, but I can't remember. My Saturdays in September are not an expertise. Looks like Anthony Joshua to be headlining. We think that the belts will come fragmented and it will be the winner of Hrgovic Dubois. Are you able to shed any light now it's out there a little bit, or is it still the plan is AJ opponent unknown?
No, look, there's still lots of going on in the background, lots going on in the heavyweight division. You got May 18th, you got June 1st, some big fights there as well. AJ's focused, ready to fight whenever, and he wants the biggest fights possible. So I think we just have to see how things play out. Like you say, there's been a lot of talk about a Wembley show in September. We saw an amazing Riyadh season card announced for August 3rd in LA, which means that hopefully they're going to be looking at more shows internationally as well as in Saudi. It's great for the sport, and AJ's focused, and like I say, he's coming off the back of probably his best run, of momentum and in his best shape of his career. So he's going to be looking forward to getting back out there in the biggest fight possible.
You mentioned that card out in the States. I know that you weren't there for the press conference, but watching it sort of all unfold on social media and everything, and Crawford again, obviously against Madrimov. I'm gonna go out there and say Madrimov's in your bracket of sort of lads.
Yeah, yeah. The Uzbek power, Bivol.
You're like a proper boy to the Uzbeks. For the people who don't know, we were backstage in Riyadh for the must have been Joshua and Garner, and Frank just goes up into Madrimov's room, and I've never seen a man get so many like embracements off the Uzbekistan dressing room.
I've spent a lot of time out. I've done a couple of shows out there. We did 2 shows in Tashkent with them. Obviously, worked with them since they signed over to us. I think 4 years ago now, and all of the team, and have a great relationship. But credit to Israel Madrimov, because a lot of people in his position, look, he's gone and won a world title. He's 10 fights in. Wouldn't take this test, but he believes in himself, and we believe in him. It's going to be a tough fight. He's going in there against pound for pound #1 in Terence Crawford, but he can go and do a job on him, and respect him for taking that challenge, because again, people wouldn't do that. And he's going to give him a real fight as well. He's not going in there just to lay down. He's giving him a real fight.
There's obviously involvement from a lot of promoters on that card. PBC heavily, some great fights on the undercard. And Eddie said he'd sat in a lot of meetings with PBC representatives over the course of being out in New York. Another step in the right direction, would it be fair to say?
Yeah, look, I think what Riyadh season are doing, what His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh bringing together, the best to put together the best nights. And that's, you see on that show, it's 12, 13 promoters involved putting together a great night of boxing. And that's what it's all about, taking away from the politics that maybe have got in the way in the past. You've got all these people coming together, putting on 6, 7 brilliant fights on the card that people want to watch. And that's going to grow the sport of boxing. So, another great night from Riyadh season, and looking forward to it. And yes, always a step in the right direction for sure.
Oscar De La Hoya still been firing at Edward. Told him to leave the US and stay promoting in the UK. It seems pretty constant. However, whenever we've covered a show, and I think Eddie will say this, and I don't want no beef with De La Hoya, so this just the vibe. But it's always quite friendly in person, but then online it's like, I mean, what do you think of it all?
Yeah, just take it with a pinch of salt. Oscar's up and down with his view on Eddie. Again, it doesn't stop good business happening or fights happening. We have a great relationship with the team Oscar's got in place there. Eric Gomez, I think, is the president of the company or CEO. We deal with him very regularly, put on great nights with him. Obviously, work with them through DAZN as well. So yeah, look, Oscar is what Oscar is. He's not going to change. And I think we're doing great things for US boxing. He's doing great things for US boxing. They've obviously got Munguia fighting this weekend against Canelo in a massive fight. Ryan Garcia they promote as well. So I think there's space for everyone to do great things, and the sport's going in the right direction, especially right now with His Excellency's involvement. It's moving in the right direction, and hopefully it doesn't affect things, and I'm sure it won't.
I woke up on that Sunday to see Ryan Garcia victorious, and I was a little bit baffled. Since then, we've seen him go on this almost like US tour of celebrations, shadowboxing around Donald Trump and teaching Kobe Covington how to throw a check left hook and all sorts. I still can't quite believe it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it was a gimmick. I'm still a little bit puzzled. When you woke up, or I don't know whether you stayed up, and what was your reaction, and how do you feel now, sort of a week and a bit on?
No, look, I think everyone always knew it would be a tough fight. They fought a number of times in the amateurs. Ryan Garcia is a supremely talented fighter. Firstly, I think you have to pay respect to both of them for taking that fight, and they've done it throughout their careers. Both those guys, whether it was Ryan Garcia taking on the Tank Challenge, and then Oscar Duarte that people wrote him off for, and he came back and won. Whether it was Devin Haney in the Lomachenko fight, for example, Regis Prograis stepping up fighting the best 140-pound fighter. They've always taken challenges and they're chasing greatness. Obviously, chasing greatness, legacy, money comes with it, but it's more about taking proper fights, and respect them both for doing that, because a number of people in this sport aren't doing that or haven't done that in the past. I think Ryan Garcia, look, everyone had their view. Obviously, if Ryan Garcia wasn't in a place mentally to do that fight, there's a lot of people around him, obviously, but you got the New York State Athletic Commission as well, who would have been heavily involved in that decision.
Did they do a psych assessment in the end?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure that they're across all of these things. It's they're one of the most well-established commissions in the sport, and they've been involved in some of the biggest nights in the sport. So I'm sure they were across that. Ryan Garcia is not the first person with a celebrity status or fame who's going to have opinions that don't necessarily, align with what other people think, and has a platform and is going to say things that wind people up. And, I'm sure he'll continue to do that. It doesn't mean just because he has certain views, he's crazy. They may be his views and he's got a platform, and he's saying what he thinks. I think when it comes to the drinking, all of this, was it all a bit of a game? Probably, yes. But I don't know. Who knows? We're not close enough with Ryan Garcia, but he's put himself in a great position in the sport of boxing because everyone's talking about him.
On the topic of Devin, he does remain the WBC champion at 140 pounds. No dispute, he is still a monster at the weight, very, very big. He always made it clear his intent was to go undisputed at 140 pounds. We believe now you guys are looking to go ahead with this Sandor Martin mandatory fight and get that defense out of the way. Is that correct?
Look, he's got a mandatory that he's had for a while. He obviously had to. He was supposed to have it when the Ryan Garcia fight happened. There was everyone agreed that it was the right fight to do to make the Ryan Garcia fight. So yeah, I think he's going to have to go into that mandatory fight, and he'll still be looking to become undisputed. There's obviously opportunities at 147 as well, big fights to be made, but I'm sure he'll take a bit of time out of the ring first because it was a grueling fight. It was a tough fight for him, and then decide what he wants to do next.
Chris Eubank Jr., free agent. Will you explore working with him?
Everyone's going to want to work with Chris Eubank Jr. He's a massive star. I've said it a few times, probably in the top 4 names in British boxing. So for sure, I think there's lots of opportunities for him. There's lots of big fights to be made. The fight I'm focused on making, and I have been focused for a long time, is the Conor Benn fight. I'm sure that fight will happen in sometime soon.
Oh,
well, no, sometime.
Well, then
soon could be a wide range, Charlie.
Just just lastly, you mentioned Conor on the topic of that. Where are we at now? Is it arbitration?
Ongoing. There's the legal case ongoing. Conor's still able to fight internationally, but as we've said in many interviews, we want him to fight in the UK. Again, he is in the top 4 names in British boxing right now, and we want him to be able to fight in the UK. So that's our focus. That's what we're working towards, and hopefully news soon.
Frank, thank you very much. I will keep you for 2 minutes if I can after the recording. What is your message to the people going into the first week of May? Happy days. The days are longer. It's brighter outside. People are happy.
It's April, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going into the first week of May, though.
I see. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the sunshine, although it's a bit chilly. I'm not going to lie. Could be living somewhere else right now. where it's warm, and then move back here in the summer. But enjoy yourself, be happy, live life, drink drip water. See you later.
And Wow Hydrate bash.